Christ long enough to tell you that I know with absolute conviction, I know this with absolute conviction, that when God chooses not to touch the tongue, He is still with us, and there is a greater plan at work. And most often we see months later, or maybe even years later, that's what God was doing. Now I understand. There's a deeper growing or maturing inside of us that God cares so much more about than just fixing the outward issue sometimes. In this case, Jesus has chosen to repair this man's ears and his tongue. And He's saying, I'm with you, and I'm not afraid to touch, and I don't care what everybody else thinks. No one else understands or gets it, but I do. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. But then Jesus tells him not to tell anyone. So why? This is what I think, and I've come to believe this in my time with God and reading about this. I believe it all comes down to Jesus knowing. He knows that when this message goes out from this instance to the villages and the friends and the families, that what this man and what his friends are going to be telling people will not be the complete message. I really believe that's what's going on here. Jesus has the dilemma. He knows. Jesus knows. It's sort of rhetorical. He knows that they're not going to be able to contain themselves. This man can speak. He can hear and speak. He's never been able to. But Jesus also knows that on this side of the cross, on this side of His death and resurrection for all people, the message about this man who touched his tongue will be incomplete. It's as if Jesus is trying to tell us through this man who comes from this pagan society here, who He shows love and grace to and says, I've come for all people. And I get it, and I see what the issue is. When other people think you're mad, I know what's broken, and I know the issue, and I know how to repair it. It's as if Jesus is trying to tell you and me, what good is it to speak if we're not going to be part of the image-bearing destiny that He had in mind for us? What good is it to be able to speak if we can't speak of the fullness of God's glory? And the fullness of God's glory was about to occur in a number of months, or in a little over a year, where Jesus would do something much harder, much more difficult than giving speech to a man's tongue and the ability to hear. Jesus was going to bring spiritual healing to all men. He was going to offer recreation of the inner man, not just fix things on the outside. I really believe this was a dilemma for Jesus. He knows that these people can't contain this. What are they supposed to say? Oh, okay, we won't tell anybody. I mean, that's crazy. But He also knows what people are going to hear won't be the complete message. All people are really going to hear is about a religious magician. Until the day comes when people can hear. He actually conquered death. He actually beat death. I mean, it's one thing for somebody to be able to give speech to a man's tongue, hearing to their ears. But to beat death, that is what mankind craves. Whether you're conscious of it or not, or whether our society and culture is or not, what mankind wants more than anything is the ability to beat death. The ability to attain life beyond death. And that is the glory that fills the New Testament scriptures, telling of the story of Jesus. You know, we have a house in our street that's been for sale for almost 18 months now. It's been over a year. And we just found out I got a contract to put on it just recently here. But family after family would pull up and look, and some of them would come down, hey, tell us about that. Man, we love the, they like the outside of the house. It seems like the yard is well kept, or, the backyard's whatever. And I would always say, yeah, but you got to see the inside. The family before them that moved back west over a year ago redid the whole inside of the house. Whole brand new kitchen, granite everything, hardwood floor. I mean, just beautiful. They redid the bedrooms and they put months and months into it. I found myself wanting to say, yeah, the outside's nice, but you got to see the inside. You got to see what the the residents did when they took up residence, what they did on the inside. And